Alrighty, so we're back to kind of the cool stuff again. Gonna be working on getting the exhaust all set up and kind of show you how I set it up and kind of what we're doing here. I got everything laid out. This is all a pipe. It's all mandrel bent pipe from Amazon. You can buy a kit. It's all stainless steel. This is actually a leftover kit from the Ranchero, so I've got some extra pieces. Had those two 4-foot pipes, the U's and all that. But anyway, and then I've got, these are the tips we're gonna run. So the plan is to just go ahead and jump right off into it. Hopefully I don't need any more long pipe, but I might. But the plan is to run these side exits somewhere around here. We're not sure if it's going to be an angle, straight out. All that's going to be kind of figured out when we get there. But to kind of give you an idea, that's how we're going to run it out. We've got some Dynamax mufflers to put in it. Try to keep it real quiet. That way kind of sneaks around and it's not too bad to drive. We've got this flange on here. These are Summer Racing ceramic coated long tube headers. We've got this flange on here. I'm not super thrilled with the way these flanges fit. The gaskets don't seem like they pull up real tight, so I don't know. I'm gonna do a little fiddling with it to see if I can figure something out. But all the rest of the exhaust I've ever built, it's been the donut gaskets, and they seem to do pretty good. But I don't know. That's what Chevrolet seems to use, and that's what everybody seems to like, I guess. So we'll try to use these and see how it goes. But anyway, that's kind of the plan here. Like I said, it's just I'm gonna kind of get it laid out here, show you everything I've got. Well, also, since we're putting those big mufflers on here, I'm a child, and we're putting cutouts on it also. These are QuickTime Performance cutouts. You can see that they're both new. This one I had originally installed on my lifted F-150 and run it for a little while, but they're basically both brand new. This one's never been installed. This one was just clamped on there for a little while to kind of see, but with 4 catalytic converters, still kind of choked it out. So I took it off there, and that's another story for another time. That's neither here nor there on what that truck's getting. So this is all 2.5-inch pipe, if I didn't say already, like I said. So that's kind of it all laid out. I'm afraid I'm gonna come up a little short on pipe, but we'll see. I'm gonna kind of lay everything out, try to get started. My biggest thing is trying to figure out how I'm gonna mount all this stuff. There's a couple different ways to do it. I can either do like the regular generic exhaust hangers that hang from like the bushings and all that hang from the top, or I actually might have one here. If not, it's a bushing. Anyway, it's a bushing style, and basically you run a bolt through it or a tab or whatever to it, and you screw it on and you build a flange that goes on the side of the pipe. Depending on where it lands in the frame, if it lands a lot lower than the frame, then I can use the regular hangers. If not, I'll use the bushings, and we'll kind of get into that when I get there on what I get to do. So like I said, right now I'm kind of laying it all out. I'm gonna slide under there with some jack stands and kind of lay all my pipes out, see how much I've got. If I'm short, well, then it's gonna be a couple days before I can get some more pipe in, but once I get it ordered, we'll see. So that's kind of how all this is laid out here. I'll kind of get into a lot more of the details here in just a second. But all right, for anyone curious, I found this is the flange and all the donut for the big truck. But basically these are just, you can either get solid or, not exactly sure what these are, but anyway, I'll look it up, see if I can find it. But anyway, they sit in here, and then this flange is bolted to the header, and then that gets squished together. So it gives you a little room to rock back and forth to make sure everything's square, and that squishes inside of it, so it seals real good. The thing with these flanges is you can kind of see that's not completely tight, but you can see where that flange doesn't want to pull up tight. Now, whether that's just a design flaw or a manufacturing issue on this one, or that's the way that is, that just doesn't seem like that's going to seal right. So that's my only fear there. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I'll figure it out when I get there. Like I said, I'm going to fiddle with it, but that's the donut I'm talking about. And as long as you have it good and square, you don't have any issues with those. And I found another piece of pipe, so I think we should be good. Those headers point, got a pretty good taper straight to the ground, so I'm gonna have to do a angled cut and try to make it straight again. And I'm gonna point your cutouts right at your fuel tank.
Now I think if I turn this tip on the cutout, keep the motor on the inside of the frame rail, that way I can run my wires down it. But I'm thinking I'm gonna kick it out the side here. Gonna point them, gotta cut it at an angle, keep this as flat as I can keep it. And then I'm gonna turn this up and then turn the tip down this direction and then weld it on here, and so it's gonna shoot kind of out toward the back of the truck still. Because my fear is if I have them on like the the motors over there or whatever, I keep them down on the inside, the truck's gonna be so low to the ground that's just gonna echo underneath the cab. I mean, I know it's got good sound in it, but still, you're just gonna be rumbling underneath the cab, exhaust fumes and stuff like that. But I'm thinking if I can roll it over this way and kind of get it out from underneath the truck, it'll sound just as loud, but it'll get everything out from underneath the truck. That's what I'm thinking. And then add another piece of exhaust about. Well, shoot, I might have to cut that back shorter. Might have to go all the way to the. Might have to go back here because I got to measure how long that muffler is. I forgot that muffler's huge. So I guess I need to get that muffler out and figure out how long it is. Give me a rough guesstimation on the length.
Right at 26 maybe.
Okay, you have that tape measure. 26. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Pretty good size.
That's huge. Actually, that's not too bad. 26. And then we just got to figure out where to angle our.
Drop it on those.
Yep.
Too many times.
Perfect.
Y'all think I was trying to do that on purpose or something?
Gotta put my belly up.
Boy, that's gonna be just right at turning.
Yeah, I might have to.
Take a little off the pipe and.
I'm not even worried about the pipe. I'm worried about the location of this muffler. Look how close we are to our drive shaft. I mean, even if we didn't have a cutout in here, it's still quite big.
I don't think you can go that way.
You can't. I'm just trying to find another way to put this thing in here.
That's about where you could go if you can, but yeah, and then your problem is dropping down and getting out
That's what
from
I'm
the
looking
tank.
at. I might end up with a whole mess of crap to get out of this truck. So really, that's the way it needs to go. Which I can always tack all that up, set it in here,
Right.
and then I can either adjust my ends and trim off the muffler.
Yeah.
Or see, because it's looking like I'm gonna have to shoot out right in between
Well, that's what we
the
talked
fuel
about.
tank, right
Yep.
underneath the leaf
That's exactly
spring.
where we were talking about going.
Yep. Are we gonna do a 90 or a 45?
Well, we talked about a 45 if it'll fit,
Alright, it ain't gonna fit.
and then I guess we're gonna do a 90.
You can kind of see, unfortunately, I got a little bit of a gap, but if you step back here and look, which is kind of pointed up a little bit more, so I may bring it down, so I just tacked it on the two sides. But I got to stay up and kind of, I'd like to be parallel, because if I square, I'll just set the camera and square it up with the bottom, you can see that the headers kind of point down. So I'm kind of wanting to bring everything back level. So I kind of went a little high, that way I can adjust it down a little bit and kind of close that gap up some. So I guess next thing, once I clear, now that I've cleared the transmission cross member, I'm going to weld the cutout, or tack weld the cutout to it. Then after the cutout, it'll be the muffler, and then I'll get to the 90s. So we'll put a couple more tacks. I'm going to make sure I get this level with the ground. I'm going to throw a level on it, try to get it parallel. Put a tack probably on the bottom to keep it from pulling. And then scoot my jack stands over, scoot everything out of the way, and set the cutout on. And I'm trying to stay fairly even with the frame. I'm kind of staying close to this, that way, because that muffler's, it's fat, it's really wide, so I'm trying to stay away from the drive shaft and trying to stay in between the frame. So it's kind of playing it by feel. That's why I'm gonna get everything tacked up, just kind of keep working my way out. You know, usually I don't have this many accessories. Usually it's more of a straight pipe situation or a single muffler. So I've only done actually 2 exhausts. I did, is that right? Yeah, one on the Ranchero, one on the Lightning, and both of them went pretty smooth. So that's I'm not professional, kind of, you know, like I say, by any means, but we're getting there. There's a bit of a thought process to it, so I'm gonna lay everything out and just keep working my way down. These mufflers are gonna have to be straight up and down.
Really?
Yes, sir. Because I mean, it might have a slight taper inside, but
Is there
Not that I could see. I did not see a float.
I wondered about that.
So, because yep, I'm hitting.
Everything?
Yep, I'm all over the drive shaft.
Okay.
And even if I cut it at an angle, I'm probably straight down and out. Okay, not a. It is what it is. I'll come straight down and come straight out. That will put me somewhere in this area, which would be about perfect. So I might add a little bit to the back of the muffler past the cutout. I'll measure out probably 3 or 4 inches, and then is this gonna be far enough down? I'll weld that to that. No, that's gonna be plenty far. I'll weld that to that. That'll bring me way too far down below the truck. I should just be able to come straight out underneath that hanger and then put the tip on it. Yeah, I don't see any problem with that. I guess go straight with it just to give us an idea.
I know.
I don't know.
I've
That's
seen someone have-
that's a pretty good look is the problem.
It is. It's straight with the truck.
Right. I mean, that's, I don't know. It's hard to beat that. That's awfully, I don't know. That's
I like it.
I do too. I think straight's gonna be the way to go. I really do.
Just because of the style of the truck.
I think so. I mean, there's nothing, like we was talking about earlier, there's nothing angled or sharp on it. And all right,
That big fat tire and that big wide
tip.
tip
Yep,
going the same direction, I think is the way to go.
I do too. I think
As much as I wanted it to go at an angle.
yeah, I don't think it looked as good. That right there has just been hard to beat every time we've put it up there.
I know,
So
because you turn it, you're like, oh yeah, I like it, and then you turn it back, you're like, oh, well, yeah, that's just
yeah,
good.
yep,
Or better.
yep.
cutting one of the last pieces for this this side over here. I had to do a little bit of extra work. And you saw I had to flip the muffler up on its end and go up and down and around and all that good stuff. But I was gonna kind of mention one thing on this stainless pipe. Those flared ends don't fit real well when they slip over this. They're real big and wobbly, so I've been cutting the ends of them off. That's about the only thing on this pipe that I haven't liked that much. And I have kind of mixed steel and stainless. This is just all leftover stainless pipe from the Ranchero. But the headers are steel ceramic coated, and that muffler is a Dynamax muffler, and it's aluminized. So yes, you can do it. I am also using a stainless 030 wire with 75-25 argon CO2 mix, just for the detailed stuff of just what I'm using and how it's turning out. Like I said, I kind of got that welder dialed in a little bit better, so I'm not having as much issues as I did when I was trying to tack it up the first time. But other than that, everything else turned out pretty good. Would be nice if I had a bandsaw. Don't have a bandsaw. It'd also be nice if I had batteries that weren't dead on all of the sawzalls. Again, you can't have everything, because if you did, I'd be done. But anyway, that's how it's going. So try to get this last piece cut and get everything tacked up. My goal is to have this one side tacked up tonight, and then I'll make sure it's all good and strong, then bring it down and probably just let it be. Get the other side up, because it's got to go up. You'll see what I got to do. I got to go up and over the transmission cross member, then back down, and then out just the same way as I did. So it's basically the end's going to be the same, but the front part's going to be a little weird to get up and over that cross member. But shouldn't be too big of a deal. But that's kind of where I'm at now. And then I guess before I pull the side down, I'm gonna see if I need what kind of hangers I need. I've got I think I've got some grommet bushing hangers, and then I've got some big, like the anchor hangers, to see what I can use, what'll be the best on this. But anyway, we'll get this cut.
So this side is all officially tacked up, and I think it looks pretty good in there. I'm really excited the way it turned out. So we've kind of got everything squared up and finished. Unfortunately, with the holidays and the snow and everything we've had, everything's been pushed back on getting parts here. So unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit. But I did go ahead and kind of mock up my exhaust hangers. I'm going to use, I'll see if I can find them, but I'm going to use regular exhaust hangers. But I think I found 2 mounting points under there to get everything mounted up. But unfortunately, it's going to be a week or two before I can get those, which kind of sucks. So right now it's just going to sit on jack stands. So I'm getting ready to go over that other side and figure out what I've got to do to get up and over that transmission cross member. Because on this one, we're still using that factory, the straight 6 transmission cross member. So it's humped out on one side and it's flat across the other. So I got to go up and over the driver's side, where on this one I could just go straight back. But that's kind of how it looks on there, and I think it all turned out pretty good. It looks good under there. I'm really thrilled, trying to get some good views of it. And here it is, all kind of down the side of it. Unfortunately, we did figure out that muffler is not stainless, it is steel. So I'm probably gonna, when I pull it all off here to burn that exhaust in and finish it all welded, probably gonna tape it off and paint it with some high temp paint. That way it doesn't rust and look bad, because you can actually see everything, the exhaust and everything sits down lower than the frame. So that's ceramic coated, this is stainless, that's a stainless cutout, steel muffler. stainless tip and stainless exhaust, but like I said, it turned out really good. I mean, that's I'm actually really thrilled with it. So anyway, I'm gonna get on the other side and we'll just keep on going. Well, it may not be as much as I thought. It might not take as much to get up and over in this thing.
You what?
I said it might not take as much to get over this cross member as I thought.
Okay.
I mean, it's a lot.
It's in the way, I know.
Probably start with like an 1/8 inch. See how close I can get. Alright. I think I've got a little over a 1/2 inch gap. I cut this at I don't know what angle it is, but it's a 1/4 inch difference from the top and bottom. It's a 14-inch long piece. It's 14 at the short end and 14 1/4 at the long end. Because I wanted it to meet right on top of the cross member. Where I could bring my other pipe to it. So it gives me a little over finger width gap, somewhere around there, in between this and the cross member, which should be plenty. I don't see that motor rocking that much. I mean, I know it's going to move some, but I don't see it being a problem. Alrighty, so that should do me there. Yeah, I don't see that being a problem. So now, what I'm thinking is this is the same angle. This is my little trial piece, but I realized it was too short. So what I'm hoping for is this is going to fit over the top of this, and then bring it back down, and then I can cut my other angle on it, and then go right back to where I'm at. Actually, I'm wrong. Alright. Because I actually need to be a little bit shorter. Alright. I guess I need to measure the length from here to the cutout on the passenger side. I need to cut this shorter. This is too long. And I'm going to have to cut my angle on the cutout part, because I want both of those to be equal, because everything else matters after that, because I don't add any other pieces to it. So, alright, so let me get a tape measure, measure this, and I'll cut this other piece short. Alright, so 5 3/4 on the, and then that would be 6 inches on the long end. And then my fancy zip tie is what I've been using to draw my circle around, because I don't have a battery that lasts long enough to cut anything with the Sawzall. We don't have a bandsaw, so the cutoff wheel has been my friend. It is what it is. You gotta use what you got. Can't have everything. So I know somebody's gonna ask why I didn't TIG weld all this, and I don't have a TIG welder. So this does me just fine. Alright. Top, bottom, how's it? Well, the fitting looks pretty good. Alright, well, it ain't gonna be perfect. Is it close? I'm looking at 20 inches. It's close enough. I think that'll do. Can we bring this down some more? Maybe be like down here? Or is this frame just that bowed out? Yeah, that frame doesn't feel that bowed out on that side. The frame just that bowed out. So the bottom. No, I'm still way up in the frame. Yeah, I'm still inside the frame. Well, maybe I'm not as ready as I thought. So I need to be like down here. Yeah, I need to be way down here. I guess I need to cut another 1/4 inch off this bottom. Leave the top the same length and cut another 1/4 inch off of it and try to bring it down some more. Okay, not a big deal. At least I caught that because I'm still, that's square, that's way up there. Maybe way down here. Alright, 3/4 inch ankle. That's it. I think that's gonna be it. That's gonna be pretty close. So, shoot, I say that. We're still a little off though. I think my pipe's just too short now. Yeah, I think my pipe just may be a little short. I think that's just gonna be good enough. I will fix it on the other end of the exhaust. Alright, well, hopefully that's good enough. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just cut me out another little sliver and square this up on the end of that pipe I cut, and then try to center that exhaust cutout in. I think that's gonna be the easiest route. So let's see if I can find a drop or something to cut it out of. Oh yeah. Perfect. No, it is 2 inches higher. No, 1.5 inches higher than that side. Because that whole thing's bigger on this side. It's bigger and farther forward and it's throwing everything off. I may have to break that off and redo that, which means I have to redo that. It is what it is. Right now it ain't working, so. Maybe. Oh, gotta come off. Try not to tear that pipe up. It's good tacks. Tore a chunk out of it. Oh well. It is what it is. Alright. Guess back to the drawing board.
centered with the other one. About 13 and a quarter ish. I think once I square it up on there, I think it'll be right. I don't know if that's right. 14. So it's 13 and 3/4 to the bottom of the pipe, and the other side's 14. Oh, this fender is about a 3/4 of an inch lower than the other side.
That could be because it's rotted out, could be because the frame's bent, there's no telling.
Yeah.
Could be the way they put more extra Bondo in it.
Well, it's part of it's because it's all blown out on the bottom.
Yeah.
But the pipes are dead level with the same, within a 1/8 inch or so of each other.
Okay.
And I'm not lowering the pipe, so I guess I'm just going to pull the fender up because it's supposed to be flat and it's just all blown out. Well, I put it up there, I'm like, well, the tip hits. I'm like, well, I know all this is the same, but it is. The other side's 17 and a half, and this is about 16 and 5/8.
And the truck's level across this way?
Yeah, I mean, it's level enough, as much as my 8-inch bubble level tells me, so.
Yeah.
I mean, the frame and all that, front to back, is very level. So that's how I've been going off everything else.
Yeah. I figured that's what you were doing.
Because I checked the bed sides, the frame, and the rocker panels, and they were all pretty close.
Right.
So I knew it was good that way, and like I said, I've done the best I could check. I mean, I checked it along the frame, and it's level, side to side, but I mean, that's not to say anything else is out of square. But anyway, it's all 14 inches off the floor. So, anyway, all right. Try to bring it all back around. Oh. Yeah, it's definitely the added fender over the top of it and the body filler kind of got into it a little bit. I mean, if nothing else, I can cut it at a little bit of an angle, just put a slight taper to it and bring it down some.
Yeah.
I think that's just what I'll do. But other than that, it looks good. So,
Good.
all right. Alrighty, the exhaust is officially one piece now.
Cool.
I'll probably put some more tacks in it the rest of the way around before we pull it out, but that's it.
Alright.
I said I'll put some more tacks in it before we pull it out, that's it. It's all done.
That looks good.
I like it.
I do too.
Other than look at your reflection on the top of your tip.
Oh,
Yeah,
that looks bad.
it does. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it.
No. The only thing we could do is when we took that off, if I went in and sprayed it with that flat black, like we did the door.
It crossed my mind to kind of clean that up a little bit. That way it's just
It'll
a
take the
solid.
color, it'll make it one solid
Yeah,
color.
and we might take the little air grinder
Yeah.
and smooth some of that out because
Yeah,
that does
might
look
be a
bad.
thing.
But other than that, it looks
that
good.
looks awesome.
I like it.
Yeah.
This exhaust turned out freaking killer. I'm pretty excited.
I know.
I mean,
It's gonna be bad the way I see it.
I know it because it's
It'll be
freaking.
like, hey, you need to go out there and look.
Well, this is the only one that's gonna get mirrors under it, and it's the only one we never cut rust out of.
I know.
Out of the bed and everything else, there's rust all in the floors and the wood floor and everything else. But I'm super excited with this exhaust. I mean, I'm very thrilled with how it turned out. I mean, all the little bends and cuts and everything else, it's smooth. I said with all the bends and cuts and everything in it, it's pretty smooth.
No, it is. It's,
So.
I mean, that really looks Really good, good and clean. I like those curves in the 90s, and
I do too. No, it's good. It's very good. So now I just, like I said, I'll slide back up under here and tack it up some more. That way it doesn't break getting it out.
right.
But because I think everything's only got like 3 or 4 tacks on it.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty, so I'm back at it. Be honest with you, I took a little bit of a break. It's probably been about a week or almost 2 weeks since I've been out here. But been ordering parts, took a little vacation, and now it's time to get back to getting all this finished up. But it also gives me a good time to double check, make sure I'm happy with the way everything sits under here, and everything looks to be pretty good. Last thing I done was kind of tack it in just a little bit more, so when I pull it off, because I'm gonna drop both sides of the exhaust and weld them outside the truck, because it's too hard to weld up in there. So pull it back out, probably do the other side first, but got some parts ordered, and I've got all the hangers have showed up. These are the ones, I don't remember if I showed before, but anyway, these are the ones, basically all thread on one side. It's got the clamp and everything on it. They're a little pricey for an exhaust hanger because you still have to buy the rubber bushing and the rod to mount it. But my thing is, if you ever have to unbolt the exhaust, you just take these 3 bolts out, the hole, you can leave that in the rubber bushing, slide the hook or slide this off, and just drop the exhaust out. And it's, I like them. They seem to be pretty good. Like I said, they're about $18 a piece. So, I mean, do you have to have them? No, but for ease of use, I think they're great. They're stainless, so shouldn't have any issues. But anyway, so I got those. I'm waiting on the bushings. The bushings, they're kind of late, so I'll try to figure those out. And got some cool stuff for the center console. Exhaust open, exhaust closed. These are momentary buttons. And then got interior lights for that. More lights for the console. And some other little piddly stuff. But anyway, so I guess my next step is going to be, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out where I'm going to mount the hangers, or just go ahead and pull the exhaust off, weld it up, put it back in, and then get the hangers mounted. I think that may be what I do. I've got that one in there and just trying to find a good spot. I'd like 2 on each side. I think that should be plenty. So I'm trying to find one up front, kind of in front of the cutout, and then one back behind on that elbow back here. So it's going to be somewhere around that hanger for the leaf springs. But anyway, I'm going to try to figure that out kind of the way I want, and then go ahead and pull them down and get them all welded up and call it good. Unfortunately, it's still going to be a little bit before I get to fire it up and listen to it, but at least we can look at it for a little bit longer. We're still getting the interior in. Dad's got the seats in, and had to get some new AC vents for it and some other little piddly stuff. So that's kind of where we're at now, but still making good headway. But we get this other exhaust dropped out of here and get welding on it. All right, well, I might have done goofed a little bit. I was bragging about these hangers, about how great they are and everything else, and they are. They're really good if you have room. Unfortunately, I don't really have enough room in this truck.
Here's what I found.
Oops. My watch. Anyway, I don't really have enough room, I don't think, to get these hangers in here. So I think I'm going to go back to the drawing board and get those bushing style hangers and possibly hang maybe off of here. I'm not sure. The thing is, like this side here, you can see it goes up and over, so I can't do anything there. And then this one here goes underneath, but it's so close. I might be able to use one possibly,
and just weld a rod off it. I did it again. Weld a rod off of the top and come out and be able to use it, but I don't know. I know in the back, I just put the box on so I don't scratch up the tip when I get it off. But again, there's really not a good place to put anything, so I'm not sure. I might just hang it off the frame and come down and just come back here, mark it, make a tab, come straight down with the bushing, and then weld. I may just buy some like 3-inch wide, 1/8 inch flat stock from somewhere and just make a bracket to come down here and weld onto this and then go up there, because I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know the best thing, because the problem is, the other thing I don't like about welding and everything in here is all those the brake lines and everything in the back. So I'm not sure. I haven't quite figured it out. I think my plan is I'm just gonna take the exhaust out, weld it all up, and then put it back. I went ahead and bought the bushing rubbers. They could just go ahead and have everything here, and then once everything's welded up and ready to put back, then I can decide what I want to do. But the plan is now just to get this monstrosity out of here and get it welded up and paint those mufflers, clean all that up, replace those bolts, and then I'm not sure if that's coated or not. If it's not, then I'm going to paint that flange too. And I wonder if they sell high temp gray paint, if that would look better. I don't know. I'll have to look at that, kick that around, because I've got high temp black, and I think black would be fine on the muffler. But if I've got to paint that too, then I'd almost rather have gray. But we'll see, because that doesn't look the same as the rest. I know this is ceramic coated. I don't know if this is, and even if it is, I'm going to burn all the ceramic coating off here, so I don't know. I'll have to kind of figure that out. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm going to quit rambling, get this thing off of here, and get it all ground down, get all the tacks ground, get everything wiped down with acetone, and then I'd like to get to welding today, but we'll see how long it takes me to get this thing out. I'm, it's doing everything after work, trying to get it all done, so I'll see how far I can get tonight.
Alright, so I got this side all welded up. You saw me get it all welded and getting better. Getting better. It's not turning out too bad. It's not quite as flat as I was thinking, but it's not terrible. So somehow I can live with. I may grind up and clean up some of them fat spots on this one, and I'll put it up on the sawhorses or whatever and double check, make sure everything looks pretty good. But I'm pretty pleased with it all. So I think I'm getting better. It's one of those, I don't do it. I've only done it a couple times, so I'm still getting my learning curve. But my setting is 1 on the voltage and about 32-ish on the wire feed. So kind of playing with a little bit. I'd say between 30 and 35 seems to be pretty good. I tried 40 when I was messing around over there, and it was too much. You can see it started to glob up too much, and so I turned it down and seemed to be getting a little better. But the problem with this is there was a little more gap than what I'd like, especially on the back side. Made it a little harder to weld. The tighter the fit, the better it was welding. So anyway, I got that other side down over there, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the tip off of it and get it ground and prep to weld. I don't think I'll get it welded tonight, but it'll be welded tomorrow, and then I'm gonna get that gray paint. I think VHT makes some steel gray. I don't know. I'll go to the parts store and see what all they got and see what my flavor options are. But I'll try to get all that tomorrow. That way I can get this set up, get painted, and then hopefully get it hung this weekend. I think I'll have everything to hang it other than some flat stock if I decide to use those grommets and hardware. But that's not that big a deal. I can go get it. I can go to the store and go get some stuff to get all that finished up. But this turned out pretty good. I'm pretty thrilled with it. Alright, got the pipes set up here, ready for paint. I'm wiping them down now, getting them prepped up. I just scuffed them up with Scotch-Brite. I'm gonna do those ends and these, and the reason I'm doing these is all this is stainless, and I thought I could get steel or stainless ends or stainless mufflers, but unfortunately the Dynamax mufflers only come in steel with aluminized coating, and since I've welded on both ends, I know they're going to rust, and eventually this aluminized coating wears off. So I'm trying to just kind of be a little more precautious and not rust. I don't know. Oh, here's my can. Using VHT flat aluminum paint color. It's a ceramic gray. But anyway, so I'm gonna get these cleaned up and wiped down. I just scuffed them up, like I said, with Scotch-Brite, and I'm just gonna paint them. I'm not worried about taping it off. I'll just go back and re-Scotch-Brite it and blend it all in. But shouldn't be too big of a deal. I'm hoping it turns out pretty good and you know, kind of blends in together and lasts a long time. So once we get these on, then I can slide it back underneath the truck and get to making up my mounts. Probably do it tomorrow, so that's why I'm trying to hurry up and get all this painted tonight, let it dry. I gotta get more welding gas and get this thing finished up. I'm pretty excited to get them up on there, and I got a lot of more work to do, so I'm trying to get this finished. Hopefully by tomorrow I can have all this done, hung up and everything. So fingers crossed I can get it done, but I gotta quit talking and get to painting. Alright, this will be the first coat of paint. I think I'm gonna do 3 or 4 light coats, and I guess let's see how it turns out. That doesn't look too bad. It's got a, I don't know, it's weird. It's kind of metallic-y. Doesn't spray that well. No, it's flattening out. It's pretty flat, which is fine. It doesn't
It doesn't really matter that much. I just need it covered, and I need it not to rust. So, as long as we check those boxes, that's all I'm looking for. Because I really don't ever want to have to do this again. Not because it was real difficult, it was just, you know, if I can keep this thing around for, you know, 10, 15 years and not have to redo the exhaust would be fantastic. Because I'm hoping this truck gets driven a lot. So, but the good thing about this truck is this truck won't ever sit outside. This truck is going to be a garage kept truck for the rest of its life, as long as I've got anything to say about it. So I'm not too concerned about, you know, rust and rain and sitting outside. I mean, the truck will be built to drive in any weather, but I don't foresee it getting, you know, just hammered on like it has unfortunately been in the past. So, but all in all, this is looking pretty good. Pretty thrilled with how this exhaust has turned out so far. I hope it sounds as good as it looks, because if it does, I think we'll be just fine. Because in my probably biased opinion, I think it looks fantastic. And really, the welds didn't turn out too bad. And it's not that I don't know how to weld. I obviously am a decent welder. It's just making it all look pretty now is what my biggest concern with welding is at this point. Is I want to make everything look pretty and not have to do, you know, as much grinding, which, you know, it just all comes with practice. Alright, so probably gonna let all this flash for 5-10 minutes. I'll look at the can and then put another 2 more coats on it. But like I said, I think it all looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with it. So anyway, and like I said, I'll just take some Scotch-Brite, clean those edges up, go right back on the edges of the welds, and that way I didn't have to tape it off and cover everything up, because all this is polished anyway, so shouldn't be too big of a deal to do. But I like it. Alright, well, that was my third and last coat of paint. It all seemed to cover pretty well on 3 fairly light coats. It wasn't nothing too heavy, and didn't really strike too bad, because that nozzle sucks on these. It's very pointed. It's more of a dot. It's about the size of the top of this can, and that's really all you get. It doesn't fan very well. It's more just a center point. It does okay. I mean, it sprays all right, but I like the way it looks. So that's really all I was concerned about. So it all looks pretty good. So I'm gonna let this dry overnight and come back tomorrow and get it off of here. Like I said, I gotta go to the store, get some gas, and should be ready to finish this thing up tomorrow. I'm pretty excited, so we'll let it dry. Yep. Do that, and hopefully it'll snake. Oh, hold up! Don't snake that.
That's where I need to be.
That's pretty close, yeah.
So I'm just kind of lining it up to
Yeah,
what I
just kind of hold what you got.
Not a problem.
So we ain't there yet. It looks pretty good under there, though.
My. I'll come back and get this at the end.
I just got to be under here more like this.
Okay.
And then you're probably going to have to guide that exhaust tip to not crash into anything. I have
At
to
least
go.
more than once or twice.
Right.
Alright, hang on. That's about as far as I can reach.
Okay. A little bit more, like an inch. Alright, alright. Well, you're good. Come up. Now we can start coming forward.
Feels like now I got to tilt.
Yep.
Alright, we're good. We can go wherever we need to.
Alright. Basically right there is where we need to be. So just hold what you got.
Alright.
Alright, can you still move that up and down and in and out?
Yeah. It'll move wherever you need to. Let me slide out of your way. It's settled enough that you can move where you need to now.
Oh yeah, this fender's.
Huh?
This fender's all bent up. I forgot.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be closer. Alright, well both these are basically the same.
Alright, cool.
1.5 inches from the edge, which is really all that matters. And
Roughly 13-ish inches off the ground. And
Won't be when we put it on the ground, but yeah.
looks like nothing's hitting, so we've got everything kind of mocked up here. Everything's set back where it's supposed to be. Unfortunately, this truck's, you know, it's kind of rusty and everything's a little crooked, so not everything is exactly square and parallel with each other. Now the exhaust and all that's pretty close with each other, but the bed and all that's it's been worked on a couple times, and you can see it's not quite factory spec anymore. So just little stuff like that you got to kind of take into consideration on doing these older trucks like this. But anyway, long story short, I've kind of made sure everything's back to where it was before I pulled it all off to weld it. And so I started kind of finding locations for my brackets. And really the only place I've got to put a bracket on the back side is this lower shackle on this side. So I'm going to use that bolt hole, which is not a big deal, and come down and anchor it or hang it there. And then up front I'm contemplating on either coming up here and coming out with a plate mounting to the bottom here, or mounting it somewhere in here. I don't know. I'm almost thinking over here to kind of hold up on it. It's a bolt with the bushing, and then the plate comes out, and then I can weld to here, and then I can just unbolt that bushing. Is that gonna work? Yeah, it's just gonna be a, yeah, that'll work. It'd just be more of a chore to get it out and back in if we have to take the exhaust off. But if I mounted it here though, I wouldn't have to go up and over the cross member. See, that's my issue of trying to figure out the best place. So I think the first things first is I'm going to start back here and go ahead and get these brackets hung back here. So I've got the plasma cutter out, and I've got this one kind of marked out already to cut. Then I'm just going to cut along the top, and then kind of mock it up there, mark where I need to drill my hole, and then kind of shape it up a little bit, make it look less like a rectangle, and then mount it on there. And I'm hoping to be able to weld everything on the truck, so I won't have to take it all back out. So I'm gonna get I guess I'm gonna get to cutting. Alright, so I know it's bad lighting and it's probably hard to see, but tonight's gonna be a long night. I'm finishing the exhaust whether I like it or not. I'm gonna go back and grind some of those welds down and re-weld it. I got some more stainless wire. I don't like the way they turned out that much, and I've got the time to do it now, and now's the only time to fix it, and so I'm going back and re-welding those. And it's gonna be a long night. We've got a lot of parts to do, and just a lot of stuff to do. So I'm getting the exhaust knocked out. Dad's gonna be working on the doors and putting new wheel studs in, and just trying to get a whole bunch of stuff knocked out tonight. So because my grandparents and grandfather, it was his birthday on Tuesday, so they're gonna come down, and we're trying to get as much as we can done on the truck so they can come check it out, just to see the progress. So like I said, we're probably gonna stay up pretty late tonight to try to get a lot of this stuff done. So I come out here, I forgot to grab the wire and some other stuff, so I'm getting it out of the truck and we're gonna get started pretty soon. Yeah, that seems to hold true. Weld at the top and then pull down the sides, but don't weld upside down or up. You won't ever weld it, or I won't ever weld it. Somebody might, but it's not gonna be me. It's not the prettiest thing. It's still a little globby, but it's much better than what I was doing before, so it's not gonna leak now. Like it never even happened.
Huh?
Like it never even happened. Alright, are we just gonna touch up where the tip goes, or are we gonna touch up the whole bottom? Do we want to leave some of the rust on the front and back?
Fade it across and just let it be.
Okay, so we're gonna just...
Yeah.
Fixed.
There you go.
It just needs to be black, because I mean there's a gap right there where it's not even attached. Alright, so that's fixed, that's fixed. This needs another coat of paint, and then give it a couple minutes and it should be dry enough to put on there. Alrighty, the exhaust is hung. it didn't turn out too bad. It only took me 2 tries to weld it up, but I'm fairly pleased with the way it turned out.
Yep.
I mean, they're not perfect, but stainless is difficult. Alrighty. Does it move? It don't move. That's good. Does it hit the... Oh, we're good. We're so much better than good, it's not even funny. These grommets are fantastic. Yeah, no, there's no way it's gonna hit that. Because you was beating on it, it don't move. Alright, will that work?
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
Well, it's 12:30 at night. We got it all knocked out. It's all painted and re-welded and turned out pretty good. It looks like a truck. I think it's gonna sound like a truck. So I'm excited with the way it turned out now. I was pretty tore up about the way the welds were. I was not excited about it. I was pretty upset. I probably didn't get any of it in the video, but I was not happy. I didn't like the way this stainless was welding, and it was frustrating. And I mean, I'm not a certified welder. I didn't go to, welding school. I'm a CNC machinist by trade, so I'm very detailed, have to be for my job. So, and I'm a fairly proficient welder. I can MIG weld, stick, and TIG pretty proficiently on mild steel. So stainless is not the same. It's very ropey, I guess is a way of calling it. It just kind of builds up. It doesn't really flatten out like stainless or mild steel does. But I mean, all in all, I went back. I changed to 035 wire and used weld.com wire instead of, I had some 030 wire. I don't know what fixed it, but I was running 030 wire in the beginning. It just did never seem to do right. So I'm used to welding with 035, and so I changed to 035 stainless from weld.com, and this is what I got. And I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. It's much better than what I had, and it's not gonna leak. It's not gonna break, so this will work. I got in a rush and just kept going instead of stopping and fixing it like I know I should have, and this is what I run into. This is just the way I'm trying to get better at it, of just stopping and fixing the problem instead of just beating my head against the wall and just assuming it's gonna fix itself, because it doesn't. But anyway, and if any, professionals or guys that, weld stainless a lot, let me know what I'm doing wrong. Just pointers, tips. I know that most people that weld stainless a lot use, tri-gas mix with helium and everything, but for this little project, I didn't see that it was worth the extra cost of buying it. I mean, if I do this more, then it'd be something I invest in. But I'm pretty happy with it turned out. So, like I said, I'm still learning, still figuring it out. So, but like I said, I went back and reground it all down and welded all my seams again to make them look better and make them hold better. So, I still got to put the flanges on, or the cutout tips on, and then these gasket or these grommets. I really like those grommets, and then that's just 1/8 inch flat plate I bought from Lowe's, and it doesn't move at all. It's solid, and it's just got one in the back, one in the front, and that's it. So pretty excited with the way it turned out. I'm super thrilled. It looks good in here. So I don't know if I can get far enough back and you can kind of see the whole thing. Yeah, you kind of can. But anyway, so that's it. And we're just checking more stuff off the list. And appreciate everybody watching and hanging out again. And I guess I'll see everybody in the next video.